Good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening to you. This is Maiyegun live. Please let me know if the audio is perfect over there just before we continue. Tonight, we will not just be talking about the legal steps, the legal implication, and so many other things that will affect the ongoing persecution of Oloye Sunday Igboho, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and so many others in Nigeria as we speak. The implication of people who are escaping from the tyrannical dictatorial system of government or the government of Nigeria should never become the endangered species outside Nigeria. As political refugees that are still going to flood out of Nigeria, it is better we raise the alarm. The implication of other African countries working with the murderous regime in Nigeria, hunting down citizens who are escaping from the killer government. Well, I'm going to have with me tonight, Julie. Julie is coming on tonight, so that I won't be the only person just, having this chat with you from another perspective. Now, I have other space, one more space for any other person who might want to join the conversation tonight. It's easier to find out if you want to be part of this tonight, okay? Indicate in the comment section and tell me if you have the device. Maybe your phone or your tablet or your laptop that has a frontal camera, and you can be part of this conversation too. This is going to be like an open conversation, and Julie is there waiting to join us. So I'm going to bring her on. There's no time to waste. We'll get on with it right away. Hello there, Julie.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good
to see you here.
Yeah, Julie is becoming a regular face on Maiyegun's Diary Politico. And my friends, everyone on Maiyegun's Diary Politico loves to hear from Julie. So Julie, tonight, our conversation is going to go around the latest development. You, as the convener of a Love, Justice, Peace organization here in the UK, you were working towards, mobilizing people to gather support, more support, especially here in the UK, for the actualization of Biafra, as well as that of the Yoruba Nation collaborative efforts that you are working on before the abduction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
Now, what has happened after that? We've had the chance to know what happened to him, how he got kidnapped and taken to Nigeria. His lawyer has given us a background and insight into what happened. Then when we were battling with that, then this happened again. Oloye Sunday Igboho, right, got attacked enough that he's now been under lock and key in Benin Republic. Not just that. The effort of the British government through the British consulate in Nigeria to give consular assistance, legal assistance and representation to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was revoked and rejected by the DSS, which simply means that apart from closing the courts right now, where the same court that chose July 26 for the appearance of Mazi, they also went on a recess for 3 months until September, and they also denied Mazi Nnamdi Kanu the access to use the resources offered him. So there's a lot to talk about tonight, and maybe here from here to there, it just depends on wherever they want to go.
Fine.
There's a lot. Now, Julie, let's take it from here. What was your reaction when you had to add the abduction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to your protest, demand for 31st of July? Now, Oloye Sunday Igboho is added. Exactly. What has been your reaction for the past few days, if I may ask?
I think just devastated like everyone else, just so shocked. I can't believe that they would do it again. Lightning would strike again in a similar way. So that's just been so shocking. But I think what this shows us is that, the title to your stream tonight is so apt, because what it shows us in very graphic detail is that any one of us could be next. So I think that's the important thing. And the way that we can protect ourselves against this is to huddle together and every person should realize that there's something you can do. There's a lever that you can pull. You don't have to just sit then let this happen to you.
Good. Now, one of the things that comes to mind when news like this popped up is going to be, what is the legal chances of getting out of this? Because that's the first thing. Even though their arrest or their abduction will never really make any much changes to the campaign, the agitation and demand, as long as the injustice that popped them up in the first place are still there, there's no way those agitation or the arrest will stop the agitation in any way. Okay, I believe that. Now, what is the first legal step that we have seen so far, especially in the case of in the case of Nnamdi Kanu? Also, the legal steps we have also seen by the Yorubas so far on the case of Oloye Sunday Igboho and people they are dealing with. What is the legal chances here? Let's start with the extradition of Oloye Sunday Igboho. Then we'll go back to Nigeria on Nnamdi Kanu. What is the legal chances here, or any chance?
I think this is it's difficult to say. Obviously, I don't have the detail, and if I had the detail, I wouldn't be talking to you. But just speaking completely hypothetically, and we were rewinding, we're back to where we were. Remember that in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, we didn't know when he was in Kenya. We only knew when he was in Nigeria. So I think, just off the top of my head, I would say that the fact that he's in Benin Republic means that they didn't have that chance to take that last step. And then what that should mean in immigration law, if everything was working as it should be, and they're signed up to the convention that is a Benin Republic, then that means that really there shouldn't be, I should be able to say there's zero chance of him being transited to Nigeria. That's what I should say. But then I have to bear in mind that we're dealing with some countries that will take a chance on being completely lawless. So that's the X factor here. We don't know. That's really worrying.
That's worrying. Now, for somebody like myself, if I walk into any country, for example, if I go to Ghana, because this is somehow a sort of implication of other African countries who possibly follows the news of what is going on in Nigeria. They do. Now, if they are now become the trap net for those who speak up against the government in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So if I walk into any African countries now, any African country, if I walk in there, I can be locked up under an arrangement that I have no.
I think what we've seen in the past.
Do I not have a right to approach any government in any country for political asylum?
You do.
For reason.
You do. But what we have seen in the past with African countries is that dictators, they tend to sort of prop up other dictators. So I think the thing to do would be to look around Africa and see, what other governments would be sympathetic to Buhari's government. And that would give us some information about how they would react if persons of interest were transiting through their airports or their countries for any reason. That's the worry. I did read somewhere that Benin Republic, is dependent on Nigeria for quite a bit, and that sort of worried me. It worried me. There's a lot of his case that is more. Actually, there's a lot of both cases that is dependent on the political situation and how much pressure that we're able to exert on governments around the world.
Thank you, Julie. Sorry, I actually thought you had something to add there too. Okay. Now, we are coming back home. When Nnamdi Kanu left Nigeria, because this conversation tonight is just to bring people into the know of what, even if these guys have committed any crime, they have every right. I mean, as they say, you will be considered innocent until the court of law proves you guilty, right? So before Nnamdi Kanu left Nigeria, under the circumstances that he left, it was to go back to their court, where their court, the same court, granted him bail. And possibly they were planning to revoke his bail conditions for having violated them at the time. But the same government who doesn't believe in his own law, who actually wants everybody to believe in the law or to obey the law, the same government failed to believe their own law, and they moved the military, where they killed 28 people at his house that day, and he had to run for his life.
Yeah.
Now, he ended up in an African country that possibly follows the news and knows that this is a man that was to be killed, but somehow escaped and he wasn't killed. Therefore, whatever condition that put him in any bail, under any bail, what have you, has been violated by the same country of the same courts that granted it. Okay? So, Nnamdi Kanu left. And his rendition, which is called the abduction today, the kidnapping of him from Kenya back to Nigeria. Now, people are so concerned that if they committed any crime, they should face the law if the law will be fair to them. But it is obvious that the law will not be fair to them. So, UK, the British government asking the DSS to give them permission to represent him. They know this. There's not going to get a hearing. Now, us outside the country trying to mount pressure here and there. Where do we stand? What can we do? I mean, what have we been doing that we should continue doing? Because we are dealing with a lawless government that doesn't even believe in their own law in the first place. So therefore, we shouldn't expect anything positive from there. What should we do?
I think we shouldn't give up. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case, he's got very, very competent lawyers, Bindmans. They have a lot of experience dealing with this sort of case. The firm is named after Jeffrey Bindmans, who has conducted a lot of similar human rights cases over the years. He's now Sir Jeffrey Bindman. And I noticed on their website that they've beefed up the team already. So there was a lady, believe her name is Sharon, who was conducting the case, and already that team is now 2 because there's a partner as well. I don't recall his name. That is basically on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case, and then they've got. You know how it is in the UK. You've got 2 sets because you've got your solicitor and you've got your barrister that deals with the advocacy side. And on the advocacy side, again, another competent firm that I personally have come across in my work, Doughty Street Chambers. So I have no doubt that he'll be taken care of. Now, there was a bit. The information was a bit. They didn't say precisely when he was picked up in Kenya. But they did give information about what they've done so far. And what they've done so far is they've contacted the British High Commission in Nigeria, and they've tried to give him consular assistance, as you know, which has been basically rejected by the Nigerian government. So that's a bit worrying because it comes back to this issue of you're dealing with a very volatile, capricious Nigerian government. And it brings in, like Sunday Igboho's case, it brings in the X factor because now we're in a situation where you've got lawyers, competent lawyers that are taking the steps, and then the Nigerian government is just refusing to play ball or to cooperate. That's really worrying. So I think in terms of his case, as his family who instructed these lawyers, they've done the right thing. They've taken the right step. They've instructed the lawyers. On our part, what we can do from the outside is continue to exert political pressure. That's what we can do. We must keep it high up on the agenda. And when we have time, maybe late as we talk, I'd like to talk about a few things that I think that we can all do to make sure that we keep this on the agenda and we keep consciousness high, because I think that's the one lever that we can pull, and we have to pull it really hard.
Good. I like the fact that you started from the legal part, which is always the right part in a situation like this, and being clear about the people we are dealing with. Lawless, capricious people, as you describe them.
Yes.
People pretty much will never, ever, or let me say, they will continue to be blind or deaf deliberately to the right thing. And when talking about external pressure, which we are going to mount, trust me, we'll mount it. Okay. One of them is the fact that people are considering that dealing with this issue as Nigeria gives cover to the characters who are using Nigeria to perpetuate their own ethnic agenda in that Nigeria. So it's easier for everyone to say, oh, Nnamdi Kanu is fighting Nigeria. Because according to them, they believed, or let me say they believed that Buhari and co. are fighting for Nigeria. But we all know it's not true. Okay? So people are now considering the fact that what if we split the battle and don't take it as if to say we want to fight Nigeria? Let it be so clear that there are some characters that should be held responsible for every of their action, including those they killed in the course of trying to perpetuate this ethnic suppression and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean now? So people are now considering that if external pressure is to really work,
mm-hmm.
we can deal with them individually by taking them before different international courts and organizations that can sanction them.
Yeah.
Can indeed punish them. What's your position on that? Because
I think, yeah.
Just a second. Before Oloye Sunday Igboho's arrest in Benin Republic,
mm-hmm.
he's already taken Buhari to the International Criminal Court for the attack on his life. I mean, on his life, the lives of his people in his house, the attack on his house when he did nothing. That petition is now has received the blessing of the solicitors of the ICC. That's one picture. What would you say to that? I mean,
I think we can walk and chew gum. That's what we have to do. And we can't, there are lots of people who say, we have to focus on one thing. We don't have to focus on one thing. We can split we can organize ourselves and do different things. So that's basically reporting them to the ICC. That's very important. Reporting individuals to the ICC is very important. You see all these horrific videos flying around, people shot up or cut up or whatever. All that is evidence that needs to end up with the ICC. People should be collating that. But I was going to say this afterwards, but I don't mind saying it now. We all can do something. We all have, especially us in the diaspora, what we need to do is that we should be writing to our lawmakers and making them consider these things. I've written to my MP. I had an auto response back. And what I'm going to do is to write another email chasing up and then adding more information. So I'm going to update it. I think I wrote on the night that Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped. And then I'm now going to write again and then add this further update to it. And I'll keep up the pressure. And if I don't get a response from my MP, I'm going to start ringing his office. So I think if we all did that across the UK, imagine the impact that would have. That's the sort of thing that will give impact. The other thing that we can do is that each and every one of us take it upon yourself. It's almost like you were maybe trying to get a bit like what Jehovah's Witnesses do. So take it upon yourself to educate maybe 3 to 5 people. Give yourself a little target and then talk to other people and tell them, look, this is what is going on in Nigeria. And don't necessarily focus on how it's affecting us. Focus on how it's going to affect them. So for instance, when you talk to average, maybe British people, and you say to them, look, this is the plan. This is what's going to happen. So assuming that the Fulani Caliphate is successful in what they want to do in West Africa, guess where they're coming next? Europe. And they sit up. And then when they finish with Europe, guess where they're going next? America. They sit up again. So they're levers there's so many other things. I'm planning to do like a huge blog post with suggestions of what people can do. There's so much you can do. You don't have to give up. And remember, the other thing to say about this is, as sad as it is that these two stalwarts of the struggle are now in custody. In the case of Nnamdi Kanu is in Nigeria and Sunday Igboho is in Benin Republic. As sad as it is, you're not going to be doing these people a favor if you just think, oh, wow, let's give up. You need to sort of press on and make sure that their sacrifices are worth it. Press on to get them out of custody, but press on to keep the struggle going. That's very important that we do that.
And that's exactly what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu also said to his lawyer. He said he preached unity among the IPOB members.
Yeah.
He preached understanding and told them to unite and, in a way, bond together and do not make his absence your own excuse to now fall off, the line. And I agree with you. But talking about collaboration, talking about bonding, talking about unity, as an, as a tool as well. One of the things that people want, many people are saying, right, that we can talk from now till forever. But we will never be able to make any changes if we don't really take it up as gun for gun, man for man, and then, eye for eye, an eye for an eye. Something that people said the language understood by these Fulani terrorists who get so much coverage, protection from the government that should give same protection to the Nigerians who pay their bills. Okay. So talking about unity, coming together. One powerful tool that I have studied that if used properly or very well enough, right, is more powerful than the guns that these guys are holding. It is the people's power.
Absolutely.
That's something we have not been able to realize ever.
Absolutely.
We are all divided in different parts. Now, let's break it into sections. Those who are affected, those who have a role to play, especially those whose future we're talking about, in a way, the young people in Nigeria. These young people falls into different groups as of today of those who are yearning for either the breakup of Nigeria or a revolution to fix Nigeria or something that is different from what they have now. How do we harness this? In a way, I have my own theory of how this can be done. But you are a lady. You can say it better than me. How do we make people understand that until we end this hegemony of these Fulani oligarchs, right? There is no chance, possibly next to no chance, of us achieving what we all dream to achieve. How do we match the message? Bring everybody to understand that before guns, we can use the strength of our numbers to end this madness. Can you help me, Julie?
I just think that one of the biggest things we have is there's a reason that they want to clamp down so badly on protests. Protests are so powerful. A protest keeps it on the agenda. It raises awareness. It means that they can't sweep it under the carpet. If everyone had come together for instance, in Nigeria in October of 2020, if everyone was on the street, that the Buhari government would have fallen. That's the truth. It would have fallen. You can see now, believe you me, even in London, the powers that be are taking note. They're taking very, very close notes about everything that's going on, all the protests. They're watching it, they're listening to it. We all know that that's the reason why Buhari is not going to have medical treatment in London anymore, because they're fed up with it. They don't want these protests. So the point is they work. Even if the mainstream media is ignoring you, that's fine. You ignore them. Just face the target and just keep going. And if we all keep doing this, Buhari's government will be out, and then we can get on with our lives. And then we need to think about the price, think about the basic things. Nigeria is a weird place. Isn't Nigeria weird? A country where people are happy and grateful because they say, oh, my employer is very good. They pay me my salary on time. What on earth?
Or they celebrate that an accident where in a bus where 14 people died, only 3 people survived, and she is one of them. So people should help him, help her thank God that she's not minding the bad road.
Yeah, no.
Led to that.
No mention of that. And no mention of the people who died. No mention of the PTSD that this person who survived is going to deal with and the counseling that they'll need for. Well, Nigerians don't get counseling, do they? They just shuffle and smile. The shuffling and smiling is not what Fela described it as.
That's
but right. We can do stuff. This is working. If the reason that Buhari and co are going so mad is because it's working. So we need to keep on. We need to keep on up the pressure. Those of us in the diaspora. As for people in Nigeria, I'm always conflicted about it because, after watching on DJ Switch's live feed, I'm like, what's the point encouraging people to go out if they're going to be gunned down? However, if, like Showara is saying, that everybody comes out, you know, they'll outnumber the police and the army, and that will be it. It'll be game over. So at some point, we in Nigeria as well, we need to sort of resolve and say, you know what, it's now or never. We have to go for it. But certainly in the diaspora, where we're not at risk of being shot, we need to keep up the pressure in the ways that I've described. You know, so and for those people, there are marches every week, aren't there? Practically in London. I know there was one today. There's one tomorrow. There's one on Friday. There's my one that's coming up, which everybody's invited to. In fact, that's why it's called Southern Solidarity. So there's a lot coming up. There's a lot we can do. There's plenty.
By building this network of friends and like minds across the board.
Absolutely.
I like that. I do.
You know, if those who can't go to protest, write a post on social media, or write a blog post on your blog, or do a little video and send it around to your friends. All these things work. All of it works. If you have money to spare, then chuck some change at, you know, people who maybe are organizing things, you know, help maybe groups to, there's all sorts of wonderful ideas that I've heard about, you know, raising awareness, people talking about wrapping buses in slogans and driving them around London. There's so much we can do. There's so much we can do, and we're doing it in safety.
From where you will never get shot. Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
I said that especially from where you would never get shot for expressing or protesting in that manner.
Exactly. And the lovely thing about it, the great thing about it is that all this is, imagine it's working, guys. It's putting, just to give you another aside. So when you're organizing a protest march, certainly in London, I don't know about other parts, but in London, you get assigned a police officer. And they ring you and they talk about what's your march about, and they talk about will you need to be on the pavement, how many people will you need to be, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And in liaising with them, the strong impression that I get is that they're noticing that there's this thing coming up with Biafra and Oduduwas all over the place, and they're asking people organizing protest marches, oh, what's this about? And they're asking for more information. So if that isn't proof to us, I mean, to me, that's proof that, you know, we are gaining the attention, we're putting the pressure on the Nigerian government, and we need to keep going. We just need to keep going and not give up.
Thank you so much, Julie. Now, another part which you slightly, sort of mentioned earlier is the part where I have heard this many times, by the way, that for Yoruba nation to come, for Odua nation, for the Biafra nation to come, the Biafra Republic, and every other republic that would like to come out of Nigeria, for them to come, there must be a revolution. Last year, 2 years ago, when you mention revolution, people would likely want to stone you on social media. It was really, really bad. But today, the reason why people said revolution will change it is the fact that those in charge of Nigeria today is like an order. You can't change that order without a fight, right? And many of us are not pushing for violence change of government. No, that's not what we did. Yeah. Many of us have, advocated for many things where we expected that if government have addressed some of these injustices in the past, it would be non-sellable or sort of unsellable to people that, oh, would you love Biafra if everything is working where they should work? Would you want to do a report? It would be a tough sell in a way, but the injustices are still there, and the revolution is something people said. It has to be a change of guard where you need a system that will not execute you for asking for Biafra. You need a system that is not going to arrest you, hunt you, or call you a terrorist because you want Yoruba nation. You need a system that understands that it is the human right for self-determination all over the world. Yes, it doesn't come cheap. It doesn't come free. At the same time, it doesn't always have to come with bloodbath and killing. So a revolution that can dislodge a dictatorial regime, that keep pushing people to the precipice of war they are not asking for. Well, now, a revolution can displace that, but the fear is this. Where would the revolution start from? The South? Because we have already been revolutionized in the South. Question our leaders. We challenge.
I think that, as you know, as I've said before, there's so much Nigeria's history has so much bloodletting. This was even before before independence. There's been so much bloodletting, so much over the years, and for that reason, it's like people understandably are very, very frightened. But the point is, you have to make a choice at some point in Nigeria. It's like, do you want to keep on in this existence, which is no way to live one's life, or do we want to move forward? There are all these dates. I keep hoping that on one of these dates that people will just decide that that's enough is enough and they hit the streets. So I know on the 5th of August, the 5th of August is a big date. And actually it is a big date because that's a big date that Showore is calling for. I don't know if it's global or he's just calling for it in Nigeria.
It's always
global.
And they've sustained it.
Yeah. So I know he's calling for something on the 5th, but that's the kind of action that we need. That, I mean, if we all hit the streets, then that would be, we give him Buhari's P45. It'll have to be, to say we've had enough of you and you need to go.
And there is a space for that in there. Sorry to cut you short, Julie. Sure. There's actually a space for that in a democracy. That you got elected doesn't mean that you have to finish the term, especially
especially when you're doing a terrible job.
There's impeachment. There are many other things that can make you have to go away. Yes. Revolution is the one. There are things that have no rules for anybody.
I think, at some point, we just need to bite the bullet and just go for it. But in the meantime, while I think the trouble we have is that if one is being completely honest about it, there are lots of people have moved forward in terms of how they see Nigeria. Now they can think about Nigeria. Yes, maybe a breakup would work, or maybe maybe back to the regions would work. At least they move forward, whereas they weren't prepared to even have that conversation, maybe even 6 months ago. So people have moved forward. The trouble is that you're dealing with a government that can see the changes and they're trying to race ahead and grab more land and put more dodgy legislation in and jail more people like Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho. And the trouble is, if we don't grab the initiative back from them, we'll be back to square one. We won't be back to square one. We'll be in a worse situation than we are. Because if you think about it, if we'd risen up in October of last year, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. Maybe the conversation would be different. We'll be talking about, how do we organize state police? We've never had it before in Nigeria. How do we organize
constitution that has a referendum?
Exactly.
People can, exactly. I understand. Go on.
So it's one of those things that the more we procrastinate and the more we don't act, the harder the job is going to be. But at the same time, there are these terrified catch-up Nigerians that need to catch up with the conversation, and they need to be persuaded to come to where we want. How we marry those two, well, I don't know, but we have to keep on moving forward. That's for sure.
And we can tell there's been some progress, like you said. I have to agree with you. Last year, we heard that, we had all these southern governors who were neither here nor there. Yeah. Right. But within the space of a year, they have also come to that reality that they needed to act. In this year alone, they've had 3 meetings and 3 resolutions. And these 3 resolutions have riled the base of the North. And they have come out to say they don't trust the South. Now, back to that revolution part. People said, if they won't let peaceful resolution work, then violent, what have you, will have to be the option. Something that I personally sort of feel really cold about in a way. Yeah, I don't like violence in any way. Yeah. Violence doesn't really, go to those who wage the violence, except for the innocent people that will be caught up in the trap in a way.
Absolutely.
Right? So, but you know why I don't like violence is this. If we go to any fight today, if we go to any confrontation today, and people get killed, chaos, riot everywhere, right? At the end of the day, we end up on the same table called negotiation table. Okay, finally, we killed ourselves. What do we want to do now? And I propose that first. Something some people called is a soft approach. I understand it can be very soft, but there are some things that are not soft. I personally feel like these people, the characters in government in Nigeria, right? Somehow, they are scared of what will happen after 2023. And that is due to the fact that that's due to the expose, the endless expose that we have embarked upon since this fraud came to power. I feel they are scared. And that is why they are making so much blunder locally and internationally without giving a damn. But I don't know how you feel.
Absolutely. I think so too. I think if they thought it through, I don't see how basically all Nnamdi Kanu's extraordinary rendition has done is basically it's just blown everything up. It's just made it a bigger issue. All Sunday Igboho's capture as well has done is just, I mean, there was a Oduduwa protest in London today. I think there was a Duduwa protest, the same thing with Nnamdi Kanu the very day after. Why on earth would you do it? And then, as we said constantly, the genie's already out of the bottle. So everyone who's dreamt of, oh, wow, I could have my own country and then I won't have to deal with this and I won't have to deal with that. All these people these dreams have been had. So you're not going to say to all these young people who are dreaming of Biafra and Oduduwa nation, you're not going to say to them, oh, sorry, it's not going to happen. It's too late. The genie's out of the bottle. So in terms of them capturing these individuals, I don't understand the strategy. I really don't. Their strategy is crazy. Just one more thing I wanted to say on the maybe like a semi sort of legal point with Sunday Igboho. I was just going to say that in his case, if I was his lawyer, I would be arguing and, are you okay?
I'm with you. Sorry, I'm just checking on the comments over there. Sorry.
All right. Yeah, I'll be arguing. I would be arguing that there was no.
Go on, please.
Gosh, you have to. I know you have a lot to sort of cope with the broadcast, but I would be arguing if I was his lawyer that there's no way that he would get a fair trial if he was sent to Nigeria. I'd be arguing. So I'd put Benin Republic in a really difficult position. So they'd have all the world looking at them, and they're going to disregard all the conventions and then break the conventions and then risk sending him back and then deal with that. So that's the way that I would approach it. I know that their personal circumstances are different. So,
Good. Julie, I decided to bring that up because we may end up or we may wake up one morning spontaneously and Nigeria will be in revolution. But somebody told me that the revolution may even start from northern Nigeria because even there, the people who claim to be their governors and all these guys lousy mouth and all these guys talking from the northern Nigeria, they are doing everything like the South to suppress the people from reacting by showing this fake public support to Buhari and away. But something always kind of jolts me, and that is they started with the Shiites. We saw thousands of them brutalized, many of them killed, and nobody is held responsible for it. They went for the Biafrans, especially what they did to them in Aba, where they killed people, where they were praying for the Remembrance Day ceremony. I don't know if you remember that. Then we saw what they did to Nnamdi Kanu on the 17th or 18th of September 2017, where they attacked this woman and killed 28 people. We saw what they did on the street of Aba, what do you call it, in the state that time. We saw what they did. They got away with it. Nobody was, nobody's responsible. We saw what they did at Lekki. We saw what they did at Obigbo. We saw what they did at Olu. And we are seeing what they are doing to every other person today. We saw what they did to Showore. So then I begin to feel like, is there any magic word or any magic thing? I use magic because I haven't figured it out yet. That could maybe if there could be any magic word that can make every of these victims mentioned to see similarity in their ordeals. Who is the aggressor? Same person, same people, same agenda. The Fulani and Fulanization, they came for them, and they are coming for all of us today. I'm looking for that magic word that can ever make all of them understand that they have one thing in common. All of us have one thing in common.
Yeah, we do.
An aggressor that needs to go.
We do. The thing is that divide and rule, remember, divide and rule started with the British. So divide and rule is embedded in Nigerian culture. So it takes years to get over all those divisions, mistrust, all of that. Is going to take a long time to play out. And what we're saying to people at this point is forget the divide and rule, because if you don't forget the divide and rule, you won't survive. You lose the land anyway, and you'll be a refugee in another African country. So I mean, the challenge to us is to keep on pulling people in. I'm still reading articles about people arguing this in the South about they don't want to be Biafra. Who cares? You know, who cares? Well, me personally, right? If I'm okay either ways, as long as I'm out of Nigeria. You know, so why should you care? At this point, your priority should be to break away from Nigeria. And then when you break away from Nigeria, you can decide what you want to call yourself. If enough of you vote for it and you want to call yourself Mickey Mouse Town, then Mickey Mouse Town you'll be. But then to put that, prioritize that ahead of getting away from the Fulani menace makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense to me at all. And that's what I think a lot of Nigerians are doing. And there's some people based on, I don't know for sure, but the people who are politicking with this, so basically using the agitation as leverage, that's just so yawn, so boring. No, such a shame.
There's something that a terrain I'm going to take you now, something that is so similar to this as well, where people who are the victims of the system that is forcing everybody, that is actually making us more divided.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that talking about these issues, bringing them to bed, bringing them to the public as we do now, make or pit us somehow against the people we are talking about. There's something that always unites them. And we don't know yet how to break that chain of, what do you call it? Right?
The thing is, it's been they've done a very, maybe I have a head start and I'm lucky because I just see Nigerians are just Nigerians. There is no tribe that is a bad tribe per se. And I mean, all Nigerians, even the Fulani to a certain extent. There is no tribe that there is a bad tribe, and there's no tribe that's a good tribe. We just have a mix. You know, we're just human beings. That's the way it goes. But then when you've had this deep suspicion for so many years, it's really, really hard. They've been excellent at doing this, and the thing is, they are building on work that, remember that the British had so much difficulty conquering the various tribes, that the divide and rule started then. It started at that point, and then the Fulani who went into apprentice with the British, they were handed over the mantle to continue. So we've had all these divisions. Or be suspicious of this, or be suspicious of that. It's very, very difficult to overcome, but if we overcome it, we must, because if we don't, we won't survive, and we need each other.
There is a fear of when 2023, or let me say the 2023 political race, which is already gathering some storm now.
Yes.
That when it comes to the full force, their effort is to probably distract everybody away from the issue of where Nigeria is right now, and drag everybody into, okay, maybe if somebody comes and becomes the president from the South, maybe that will go away. That's another last card I have been told that the South want to push. Another card that is, in fact, going to cost us more lives in the southern Nigeria. They are going to propagate 2023 as if to say, yeah, they can end this whole madness after 2023 in a way. And that somehow makes me worry.
It does, but I think this is where it's important that we have to keep on talking, because a 2023 presidency for anyone in the South, whether it's the Yorubas or the Igbos or whoever, is there's no point being a president, a puppet president. That's all you be. There is no point. And in the period now, even if that southern presidency lasts, say, maybe 2 terms, maybe 8 years, right? All they'll do is consolidate their power with the puppet as president. All they do is consolidate their power. So if at the end of those 8 years, people then think, something, now is a good time for us to have this revolution, they'll just be 10 times harder. Why don't you just do the job now? Do the job now. I think Nigerians, the other thing to say is that even though the Fulanis clearly are the shall I say, the tribe, that is a menace that everybody's worried about, the Fulani people themselves, they're corrupt. They're corrupt because all this wealth and that they're stealing from Nigeria is not even trickling down to the rest of the people in the tribe. You can't say that all is it 6 million of them that exist. You can't say that all of them are enjoying enjoying the wealth, because that's clearly not the case. It's clearly not the case at all. The answer, I don't think, is in 2023. I don't know what the answer is to that, because there is another argument of people saying, well, if you don't participate in the elections, then you'll just get whatever. I don't know what the answer to that is, but I think long term, the answer has to be to break away. There's the issue
of trust. Exactly. Yeah. So we have the issue of trust among all the ethnic nationalities in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Nigeria is a country that over 250 nationalities are forced together as a country, and they had no say on how that country was formed. It's the only country. Yeah. So we have 250 ethnic nationalities. So people are now saying that the arrangement that brought us together, that is 40, that instead of going into 2023, like you said, why not just sort out that differences now?
Exactly.
Get rid of that fake constitution that doesn't represent us.
Exactly.
And let us have our input, so we can then say, are we interested in being part of Nigeria or not? And that's something that they don't want you to talk about, including those who are the Southern puppet too, because they work hand in hand with the Fulani elite who are pushing this whole agenda. Okay, so my next observation in this regard will have to be on the issue of the same election. In a way, we have a chance of not making that election happen.
Exactly.
Or better make it more legitimate. Because holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, holding Oloye Sunday Igboho, in this regard, has shown that those who are in charge of Nigeria, they are not interested in anything justice. No. And if anybody stands up to question that, they will be meted with the treatment of Oloye Sunday Igboho. Why should we then go and have an election in such arrangement?
It absolutely, it makes no sense. I think people need to come together, push for this referendum, forget about the 2023, push for the referendum. And even if we had to have a halfway house, like I can't remember what broadcast it was that you mentioned it, and you said, well, even if we didn't have the referendum straight away, that what we could do is that get all the resources and power back to the regions, and then work our way to the referendum, and then formally sort of break away. But as long as we worked to a situation where we went back to the regions and the power wasn't central anymore, then I think a lot of problems will be solved. I think all this nonsense and squabbling in the South, there's so much. Nigeria is such a big country that even if you take the strip of the South, there's enough land for everyone. We all know where we come from, right? And I don't need to toddle off to Agbo and try and land grab anybody's land. I know where my family comes from in Asaba. Right. I don't need to do any of that. So if we all follow, our ancestral roots, there's plenty to go around. And then in terms of what we call ourselves at the end of it, that's neither here nor there. Nigerians, we change names like, one day you come back, oh, so-and-so state, is it Bendel? Oh, no, it's Delta, it's something else.
Delta.
So There's really not a big deal. The thing is to stop the Fulani menace, and the way we do that is honestly, I think the referendum is the answer. You know, that's where we need to be working towards.
Let's go back to the beginning. Why are we doing this? We know all the problems. We can talk about them. You and I have provided many solutions on this conversation right tonight. We've offered a lot, right? But let's come back to where we started from. People who also agreed with us that things are not working. They put everything on the line. Their lives, their comforts, their everything, including their liberty. And they are currently being punished for that.
Yeah.
And the question is, if those who have been persecuted as we speak by a system that justifies injustice and entrenched it in their own system, if that system that does that to them today will get away with it, who is next? Something that all of us should be worried about. Exactly. And another reason why your message, Julie, my message of a Southern solidarity, we're not begging for unity. Solidarity to confront the same enemy, the enemy that is about to consume us, the one that denies us who we are in a way. So that's the question I ask myself. Should I wait for who is next before I act? Or should I just act now as we are before it be another person's? Julie.
Act now, act now, write to your MP now. Go to that protest march now. Post on social media now. Evangelize your next door neighbor now. Write the letter to whoever now. Make contact with other activists or whatever. Do it now. Now is the time. Now's the time to do it, not tomorrow. The job will only get harder. Now is the time to act.
Thank you so much, Julie. I'm going to open the line. I believe few people would like to say hi to you. Let me go check where I put that phone in a moment. So I'm going to open the line for everyone who might want to say hi to or contribute one or two things to this program as well. Julie, you've been so wonderful as always, right?
Thank
so I'm
you.
going to give you for a few minutes where people might want to say, one or two things to what you have said so far. And I think I have my first caller on the line.